Hello everybody, welcome back to Language, Litigation, and Integration. I am your host, Brad. My constitutional rights are violated. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution gives you a right to your writings and discoveries. Additionally, the Fifth Amendment gives you your right to just compensation for private property used for public use. If you see my scientific lecture playlist, this series From Rhythm to Algorithm very literally derives the entire logical structure of science. That is in no way an exaggeration. The engineering applications are heavily classified, and in consequence, my life has been destroyed. So I am your host. We comment here on this section about legality, history, in the context of current events. And so the primary function, again, is to raise awareness that I am the victim of crime. I have been seeking asylum outside of this country. I may seem calm to you. That is just because I've been tortured for so long. And so in no way is that a joke. Again, my rights are violated in such an egregious, vitriolic, disgusting way where I'm just over here like, hey, I have no politics, I have no religion. I'm just like, hey guys, can I have a career and a family? And the answer is definitively no. And the answer is definitively no in a way that's illegal. And so I've been seeking asylum outside of this country simply to be able to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work, which has never occurred in my entire life. I'm going to be 33 years of age this year, and I have never once had any conscious memory of feeling safe. Literally never. But regardless, we move on to our current events. Quite a bit. I haven't done one of these in a while, and these talking points kind of they pile up pretty quick. And so big thing, obviously, is this war and ongoing conflict with Iran that has now been started. So just kind of talking through any points that I've written down, and then just my overall kind of opinions or thoughts or things that are brought to mind. Because again, it seems like we have another war, which, as far as I can tell, is just Donald Trump having another temper tantrum, and he has this huge military at his disposal, and he's going to do whatever he wants. Some sort of mixture between every bit of vitriolically disgusting part of the Republican Party you can think of. And again, I'm not Democratic, I'm not Republican. Politics is such a low level of differentiation to say I'm this or I'm that. It means nothing to me. And so if I say something like Donald Trump is a low-level Republican and you immediately think I'm a Democrat, you are a renard. And so regardless, it just seems to be this haphazard. I have this military, I have kind of this general direction, again, of what I think my party wants of me. But in reality, I'm probably just a pedophile. And again, I don't say that again with any attenuation or appeal to the crowd that's like, oh, Donald Trump's so bad, he's a pedophile, I'm on Reddit, I have blue hair. None of that shit. It just objectively looks like he diddles kids. And so, is that a distraction? Are we doing Iran from a distraction from the Epstein files? Frankly, I see that as low-level conversation, but I don't know what the fuck this is. I really, really don't. And so, all right, we all wake up on the news in the United States. Well, first we have some development out of Israel that they have killed Khamenei, but the leader, the supreme leader of Iran. And so the Israel forces kind of report on that, and we get some sort of, is this legitimate? Meaning, did we actually kill the leader? And it turns out they've killed the supreme leader, and additionally a ton of his higher or upper running level generals. And then after, again, what day is this? I don't know, 5. But it's like, what is the goal? What is the articulated reason to the American people? Which, frankly, I think that's a very good, it's a place to pause there even to say, what is the relationship between a government and a citizenry for announcing kind of military movements? Again, private industry, governmental regulation, and sentiment all really develop into one kind of entity thing. And so the goal, should you articulate a reason to a populace for war? It's one of those sentiments where it's like everyone on CNBC or the news is like, yeah, man, congressional approval for a war, which, as we talked about with the Maduro thing, it's just like, that's not how jurisdiction works. I mean, sure, you can say the American people are like, yeah, we can go kidnap Nicolas Maduro out of Venezuela. It's just such a strange sentiment, again, outside of American exceptionalism, but really outside of nationalism in general. Any one country saying we can have a populace and say we can go commit an action that would be considered a crime if it was any other dynamic besides not our country. just makes no fucking sense, and it's not going to make any sense into the future. And so that immediately raises pause to me, where I'm just like looking around the room. It's like we see, you know, the meme where there's the black dude, Gucci hat. He's got a red Solo cup, and he kind of is like looking around and then nopes the fuck out. That's where I start like looking around, where it's just like, you guys think you can have congressional approval to do war and that like makes sense to you? Wow, Renard land, full effect. And so that makes no sense, but regardless, we have this joint. Now it's like, did Israel bring Donald Trump in? Did Donald Trump, he says no to that. But regardless, that's kind of where we're at. And so what do we do? Again, what does the actual operation look like? Well, we have some sort of airstrike. That seems to be the big MO, method of operation currently. There's seeming to be talks where it does seem like there's going to be boots on the ground, which what is the objective? And I can't emphasize enough, I'm not over here supporting the United States. I'm over here supporting whatever action does the most good for the most people, the fastest, is objectively, morally the right thing to do. And so, Iran has this Iran is the premier Islamic State arm to facilitate terrorist attacks. That is true. That is a true statement. We see that with the Houthis out of Yemen. We see that with Hezbollah. We see that with Hamas. But what are the dynamics? We kill this guy. Again, we meaning everybody that agrees with killing him. I mean, just talking the logic out loud. And so, great. We kill this guy, does that immediately guarantee that this regime, which that word comes into play now, the cohort around him, right? Sentiment generates and dictates how people behave in a group setting. So we kill one guy, did we cut off the head of the snake, or did we just piss off an anthill? And again, we meaning anyone that supports this bombing. And so, again, not to say I support it or not support it. If I had to pick and choose, again, the overall behavior of the United States government is profoundly atrocious. If there was a net benefit to take out a world leader that genuinely does, again, net benefit for everybody, not just Israel, not just the United States, not just one country, not just that country, but is it a net positive to take off of the planet people that are committing terrorist acts? Yes. Nobody would debate that. Practically, is that what's going to play out? It seems to be, and again, I have no specific military insight, but then I literally have the question, do war experts exist? The actual execution of just, shooting somebody or getting on this mountain ridge or going down this river seems to me frankly common sense. But from our leaders, great Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, and I don't know if Kash Patel's back from partying with the hockey team yet, but their behavior, their demeanor, in which I would have any confidence in saying this is a legitimate operation would be no. But frankly, it doesn't matter, again, if you do net positive. This Khamenei guy is gone, is that net benefit? The real response is I don't think anyone really knows, and frankly, I'd say it's not going to do anything. You're going to have, again, the Islamic State, to me, within Iran's geographic region, is not something you can just wipe out with a bomb in any meaningful capacity at all. And it's such a dense area, there's so many people, it's such a big country. Again, you see the responses, both people cheering his death in the streets, as well as saying, death to America. And so it's just, this disparity of response is not surprising to me. What exactly happens? I certainly don't know. It seems to be that nobody in the military intelligence agency directly doing these operations knows. It doesn't seem that Trump or the United States has a plan in general. There's been 6 people killed. It seems to be some base in Kuwait. I saw something else in Syria maybe, but point being is it's, you get into this conversation, is the American population, being specific to the United States, are the citizens like, yeah, man, I'm going to send my kid, my son, my daughter over there and fight some just war. So then you get the concept, okay, Khamenei is this bad guy. I think, again, from my perspective, seems to be a very good assessment. But again, more general, the sentiment of the Islamic State of wiping out other people, so on and so forth. Again, the vehicle of extremism isn't unique to Islam at all. Present day, that is certainly when you get the most terrorist attacks. But regardless, is that going to have that net effect of causing some sort of severe blow to the Islamic State, specifically meaning the terrorist organizations that organize around the Quran or, the Allahu Akbar, again, which really just means God's great, but in the perverted sense of I'm going to go blow somebody up and say God is great while doing it. And so I don't think you can take I don't see any sort of, I'm going to bomb. And then you ask the question, well, what are you bombing? Okay, we killed Khamenei. And then you turn on the news, it's like, oh, we bombed an Iranian school of girls. And so then you ask the question, or again, most Americans or anybody was like, okay, it's just truly the sentiment I see is, oh, it's not my problem, this overall net good thing. And again, it's the exact same similar sentiment that we discussed in lethality with our, reading the Constitution Breyer section, was that, again, if you're in a bar, if we're, talking about concealed carry, or just a police officer, or just use police officer because they have, more effectively they have governmental authority, but more related to like military, it's a better analogy or better metaphor. But you're a police officer, someone genuinely presents to you an immediate deadly threat where you have every right, everyone agrees it's the right thing to do to use lethal force, and then you miss and you just shoot somebody behind them. On a personal level, you're going to feel the emotional dump of I was threatened, I discharged my weapon, but I was in the right thing, so I can't really feel bad. That is just like the natural sense of defending yourself. And then objectively, you shot some not random person, but someone who got caught by a stray bullet, got caught in the crossfire, and so somebody else is dead. I mean, that's a real consequence. What do you do? And so that's kind of the, you scale it up to the country level, and people just don't have that immediate, this person's a part of my country. And so if we bomb an Iranian school and the American populace is just like, not my daughters, to me that's just fucking like unacceptable from like a military general perspective. And so you have this, do people want to send United States citizens over there to die? Most people would be like, no, but to me it's just maturity is war necessary? It's an unfortunate reality of our existence, but all life should be treated the same, both good and bad, and not saying, again, I'm not coming from a place where all life is magically valuable. No, no. We all live, we all die. You all have to take responsibility for your actions. What gets the most good done for the most amount of people? And so it seems to be there's going to be some boots on the ground again. I just don't see that this is Afghanistan 2003. This is Libya coming back, which was another absolute fuckhole. So this is Donald Trump doing who knows what really, but probably to me this being a diversion from the Epstein shit is such low-level conversation. It might be true to some extent, but just the overall direction of a commander-in-chief operating like this, and then, okay, again, I can't emphasize enough, I'm not specifically talking about the United States, but you have a commander-in-chief starting a kinetic environment, and then the embassy out of Israel's like, U.S. citizens, you're on your own. So it's just a level of operation and executional awareness that is not present. And so this would disqualify you immediately from being a commander-in-chief, having any sort of direction towards the military. Because right then it's like, okay, well, how practically do you have a commander-in-chief bombing things, right? People are taking orders without congressional approval. So this is what I'm talking, the large scale of the law is a two-way street everywhere. Right, you give an illegal order. We just see this thing with Mark Kelly or whatever the fuck, bald guy Kelly. You're not allowed to commit. You're not allowed to follow illegal orders, and that's like a thing to be like. We need to push back against that. Pete Hegseth, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? But meaning, as you educate people, and we all know what it's like to be a human being, morality is objective. And that's why I'm saying on a global geopolitical stand, clean up your own backyard, right? This is where it would make sense. Again, Trump's out here saying Iranian people take over your country, which is yes and no. There's just the overall education of everybody is too disparate. So what's going to happen is you're going to get some insurgency group. You're going to get another leader. You have to raise the education level of the entire populace so quote unquote bad guys can't get into positions of power. That's what's going to happen. But Donald Trump's going to dick around. Some more service members are going to die. And again, I do not care. Like, I'm not saying that to protect the United States citizens' lives. I'm trying to, again, talk through the logic historically and, again, emphasize how fucking stupid this is from every perspective. With the added explicit statement that, again, whatever does the most good for the most amount of people is the right thing to do. If there's a practical way to take out this Khamenei guy and then have a good regime develop, I just don't see that as realistic. And then when you're having these negotiation talks about denuclearizing Iran, we've seen that through history that they flip-flop, they say they're doing this, they're not doing this, But we're at this position where it's like there's no real good option, and then just I don't say randomly, but blowing things up is not going to do anything good. We see Iran's response. They're, what? I'm trying to think of a rap song just popped into my head. It's like, I don't give a fuck about who I hit. It's like some rapper talking about just shooting at the ops. And so Iran's is over there firing anyone in the Middle East that is, if you think about the United States or Israel, bomb, 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 bomb. And so I definitely see the USA as instigating in the context of we're having peace talks and now we're just up. I think Iran's going to preemptively strike us. Where's the intel? It's not going to be public if there is any. Seriously doubt it with old Donald. And so it's just like, again, what do you do? Again, you raise the education, you acknowledge science. Again, this thing, you can't have such an errant president doing just nonsensical bullshit if the general populace, again, won't take illegal orders. And so the operational command there is a joke. Again, the law doesn't exist. You are there to protect and serve the Constitution. It doesn't exist. I am right here sitting you telling you I don't have constitutional rights because I don't. You're not serving anything. You're not protecting anything. You are the pawn in a game of we don't care if you die. You might get Donald Trump on the nightly news saying something to the effect of, we had some casualties. There's going to be more. It's probably going to be more. It's great. I can't do a Donald Trump impression, but it's going to be it's going to be a great war. There's a great service members. They paid the ultimate toll. And again, I will guarantee you there's going to be, I will say 95% certain it's just going to be another regime pop up. That area is too dense currently. I don't know though. I don't, it just takes one, but that's the thing is I would say the cohesion and the unity and the education is at a level that is too low to the person that's going to want to take charge just being corrupted again to some level. And so I see this whole incursion war as just absolute nonsense bullshit. Obviously, again, it's just what the fuck is going on. And then we get to the financing of it, the economic impact, right? War is almost certainly inflationary all the time. It's another one of these things where it's like the stock market's like, like, I don't, again, but this is, functionally, foundational to the economy. And so, blowing up infrastructure, closing down ports, depleting munitions, right? The USA spends this amount of dollars on the military budget. And so just for some data, we have 3 F-15E fighter jets that were downed. That's $117 million a pop. We had some other ordnance that was like, $15 million a pop. And so it's like, cool, you blew up a bunch of school of Iranian girls and said, look at us, we also got Khamenei in the mix of that. It's like, sweet. But even if you don't even care about the Iranian girls, which nobody does, like what about the dollar bills you just burned through? $1 billion for a volley seems kind of, that's going to put a ding in the old checkbook. And so almost certainly this will be inflationary. Oh, it looks like we're going to be washing our money back up on the interest rates. Jack that shit up to like 25% right now, Kevin Warsh. Or again, just giving me my money because again, I do not have constitutional rights. I am under here the direct extortion by the IRS and the government, which I am trying to prosecute criminally and sue civilly. Or again, just any bit of legal damages or prosecution I am trying to do. But the money aspect of this is also a it's certainly a consideration. Yesterday, we had the meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and he met at the White House. And so again, more to the behavior of Hegseth and Trump. When I see them again, the Department of War, which Hegseth is like a weird frat boy. Again, he's like one blink away from being a neo-Nazi, and then he kind of just has this position as the Department of War guy. But to see, like, again, talking about war progressions, and then adding in there, the libs are retarded. We're gonna own the libs, libtards. Liberals are losers. In the midst of like trying to be a commander in chief and direct a military is just like Looney Tunes, man. Like absolute fucking Looney Tunes. And so that was exciting. Not really. Do war analysts really exist? I talked about that, what I think there. And so anything else that immediately comes to mind with this? Again, what is the end goal? There's clearly not one. What is going to happen? He's going to drum up some. Again, Trump is going to make. Again, I don't know what would satisfy. Is like, yes, we accomplished something here in Iran. And so that is what I have to say for there. I don't want to again carry on with without any novel insight. And so, kind of back to our talking points. And so, in the last episode, I trailed off after saying, I haven't been in combat, but again, that's not me like holding back some extreme violent crime. It's just I was going to criticize the military honors because you guys don't serve anything. I am literally the person that has negotiated the most important truths in history at the highest level of this intelligence agency bullshit, where you don't even know who's who, we don't know what's going on. I passed a bunch of tests, I don't know what the fuck that is. You guys are seeing all of my research, and I had that shit done when I was 7. And so it's like, I'm sitting over here like, wow, let's see what these guys know. And it's not that much. And so this is coming from somebody that, again, I'm a citizen, I'm a person, but I'm also at the highest fucking level of negotiation. And when I see this behavior of just like nothing, getting back to the war, it's just like nothing. But when I was, trailed off, I wanted to criticize. Again, military honor should be something. The military should be honorable, again, from any country, but it isn't. We're at a level, again, of education throughout the populace where people just behave like schoolhouse children, and they get in any sort of group that benefits them, and they're just the most pathetic, incompetent, resistant to actually doing the right thing that is possible to exist in their behavior. And so I wanted to criticize military honors, and I just, lost my train of thought, and it would have sounded like a goofy goober trying to make a serious point to criticize the military. Because again, you have a sworn oath to uphold the Constitution, right? Liberty and justice for all, and you don't serve anything in reality. We have some updates on the Cuban officials that shot at, or the Cuban government that shot at this speedboat. They were defending against one American narco-terrorist, just like Trump in Venezuela, right, President? Meaning, from this incident with Cuba, we have a speedboat coming in from Miami. Again, I didn't hear any follow-up, didn't really look in that much, but the initial reports had this boat encroaching in this jurisdiction, and they start firing, so obviously you start firing back. There happened to be one United States citizen on there. I'm sure he was doing a lot of legal activities with a speedboat in Miami. And so I'm sure Trump came out, and again, in the same way we blew up those people narco-trafficking things from Venezuela, and then we then committed what I consider truly a war crime, but again, there's no laws, and I mean globally. I'm talking about the global sentiment of restricting and resisting things that are objectively incorrect. And so, but Trump, again, we can go blow up the goes, and Hegseth, circle back, spin the block, the opt-in drop, bro. We got to go back and hit those guys in the water. And so I'm sure you had that same reaction to seeing the American getting killed by the Cuban government just defending their land, right? It's literally one for one the same exact situation. Except the difference is when Venezuela are coming to the United States, that's because of the demand disparity by the policy of the United States government, which is fraudulent. The FDA is the most premier institution denying scientific disclosure. Fact. And so I'm sure Trump had the exact same reaction to this Miami boat incident. But on more important news, we have some exciting zoo news. So we have Jelly Bean is the name for the new hippo, a pygmy hippo at an Arizona zoo, Litchfield Park, 20 miles outside of Phoenix. And now we have some serious rivalry going down between Mudang and Jelly Bean. Who's going to win the cutest hippo out there? We do have to go back Ollie and Rita at the Columbus Zoo, the baby elephants from the fall of last year. I'll be going, I think, on Monday. I think I'm definitely going in the next couple days. But we have a new hippo, so that's very exciting. Jelly Bean, love the name. We have parents Lollipop and Tootsie Roll. That's fun. And so always got to keep you up to date on the zoo news. But in response, again, we have this terrorist attack locally. We had 2 dead victims and a Senegalese man with an Iran undershirt and decorations at his residence. Opened fire at a bar in Austin, Texas, critically injuring at least 14, and terrorism was suspected. And the suspect was killed by police. And so it's pretty safe to say, again, it's all of this, innocent until proven guilty is the bullshit projected narrative. Reality, it's you're guilty until proven innocent. I made a whole video titled that. And so this is one of those cases where it's you blow up Iran's leader, and then a guy with an Iranian shirt who's Muslim shooting up and then having a bunch of decorations, it's pretty safe to say you can say that's terrorist. And again, to me, the word again doesn't really mean anything. Terrorism, causing terror. Just don't be a bitch. Don't be scared. Right? If you're scared, go to church. Ice Cube had a very insightful quote there. But it's one of those situations where it's like, if you're going to call something terrorism, it's like meaning an ideological response just to commit random violence against random people. That is what I would say qualifies as terrorism. And so, and if he's rocking an Iranian shirt and saying, yep, I'm definitely responding to this event, you know, we have a pretty good cause and effect there. So this is one of those situations where it's, again, like Epstein, died by suicide. Shut the fuck up. Oh, this guy might be a terrorist. He's got an Iranian t-shirt on, shooting people in direct response to us killing the leader. It's like, 1 + 1 does equal 2 sometimes. And it actually equals 2 every time. But that is what we have there. Do I want to comment anything else? Again, the war was the big thing. And I just have, again, I'll put this as a little end. I do want to do, like, again, my, like, living will, effectively. Again, everything that I've documented in the language litigation integration series, anything that I said explicitly about punishment for the crimes being committed against me, stand. I mean, I'm not retracting literally anything. But I do want, but I will do a whole video, again, every so often updating, you know, my living will, again, just because I don't see this ever stopping. I mean, there's a complete derivation of all logic structure sitting on the internet, and I can directly email a personal injury lawyer that's my business partner in contract. Here is the law, here's the violation, here's the property ruined it, here's the people doing it, do something. And the answer is, it's just, again, people do not do the right thing, and they can't. But what was I was going to finish up with one other thing. Oh, so again, I'll just update that every so often. But anything I've set up into this point, which again, like, I'm out of, like, legal punishments to enact on people. I will do everything possible, again, legally and lawfully, to get my work acknowledged. Once the entire world knows that they can't have any sort of realization on a personal, direct, subjective level without it being articulated in a mathematical proof publicly. Once the entire world's aware of that, I'm going to take all of my research down, and you guys are going to be forced to steal from me, as you're doing right now. And so I do not want anyone to benefit from my work personally. I have to get my work out there to get paid personally. Past that, I do not give a shit about any of this scientific derivation. I just don't. It's ruined my whole life. It is truly profoundly trivial to me. It is not even something I consider a lot of my day. Well, I do, but it's just, again, I will never be a person. I have no personal expectation of integrating into society, being, hey, Brad's a mathematician. Oh, Terrence Tale's a mathematician, so is Brad. It will never happen. Sean Carroll's a physicist, so is Brad. It will never happen. You literally can't turn on a video with Sean Carroll not literally demonstrating the theft of my property. When it comes to fundamental physics, you can't avoid the fundamental ontology, and it's solved. It's done. They can't avoid the word vibration for fundamental limitations or small things, because it's a fundamental inverse of rhythm. It's a limit. All of the science is proven. And so, again, you get into a point where you derive an entire, I would say, a math subject, but you derive the only math subject, the only proper structure of analysis. And it's just like, what page do I flip to show you what proof that you're going to understand and do something? Do something. I'm not trying to teach you anything. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. My rights are violated. The law is violated. My property is destroyed. It is so directly illegal. All I've asked for a little bit of money. No. Destroyed my health, destroyed my life, destroyed my relationships, destroyed everything about my existence. No one gives a flying fuck. And so, with that being said, again, all of the legal punishments that I've articulated stand, and they will never go away. Each day I see it as, again, ongoing exacerbation, ongoing duress, ongoing charges. These are each independent charge. You go on a crime spree, each time you do something, it doesn't matter that you just said fuck it and you started carjacking a bunch of different people. Each account is a charge. Same here. Same here. And so, but with that being said, I am issuing, this is straight from the G69 Summit, the Supreme Leader Chief Plump Log. That's my tribal name. But Brad will work for other people. But I will say, because again, you can't avoid my research, and then once it gets acknowledged globally, publicly, in earnest, you're going to have to refer to my work in so many contexts that I'm missuing. You will be sued and you will be prosecuted if you do not refer to me as daddy. And you must moan every time you reference my work. So if your chancellor Friedrich Merz in Germany, and someday mathematics is relevant to your country, or physics is relevant to your country, or science, or engineering, or technology, and you're in the parliament, wherever, we're in Bavaria, we're in Berlin, and we're going to have a good meeting of the parliament. Frederick, guten Tag. We're going to sprechen Sie Brad. But you're not going to say Brad, you're going to say Daddy. And then you're going to moan like this. Guten Tag. Brad, Daddy, So anyway, we're going to talk about Germany's policies today. And I'm being serious historically, because the one thing that I actually think I can do, and I'm never going to live my life, but is legally enforce making this world a fucking carnival. Because why not? Right? We name buildings after people, we name streets after people, we name cities after people. I contributed more than everybody. So we could just call it Brad's Big Dick Emporium. And we just name all of the buildings. Big Dick Emporium Building 69.1, 69.42001. And just make this whole world a carnival shithole. But as a genuine, legal, executive order to all of my subservient nations, which again, I genuinely, objectively own ontology. I am a single individual that legitimately has legal rights to all education and payment for the distribution of that information. You must refer to me as Daddy in, again, official public everything, and then moan. It doesn't have to be a long moan, but just Daddy, and then go right back to whatever you're about to say. And so my work, again, and you'll see throughout my emails, there's several different ways you can properly address me, all of which will be respected. But ideally, it's just a little daddy and then a moan, You go right back to whatever you fucking bullshit crimes your countries are committing. And then my work shall be referred to as Daddy's blessings. And so that is in all formal public settings. Anything that is not respected will be taken as slander, defamation of character. And again, you're already indebted to me because stealing all of my research, which again is fundamental realization indefinitely. In 10 million years, if this planet is still a thing, my videos will still be here being distributed. You won't be. Nothing anybody else is doing will be remembered from this time period. That is a fact. So my only genuine ongoing, because again, OSU I want defunct. Cal Berkeley I want defunct. ISA I want defunct. But we have to have an educational system. We have to kind of rally the troops and not be a bunch of dickheads anymore. So again, practically, lawman Brad has to, okay, we can't, shut down the world because he screwed up Brad's life. Which is true, you did screw up Brad's life. Or Daddy's life. But again, the full acknowledgement of what's happened, complete payment. Payment for absolutely fucking everything. If not, you go into debt to me. Again, monopolization is inevitable for my estate. That's a fact. Do I want practical control of structures? Fuck no. Do I want to make a carnival joke out of all of the arrogant dickheads that still to this day, still my business partner, still is not treating me like, hey guys, all of analysis that could exist is sitting on the internet, and it is. Well, that seems like idiocracy, full bore, Brad's Big Dick Emporium, I own everything, I don't have practical control, but legal control and legal acknowledgement, absolutely. I mean, I just don't, you guys have not contributed to the environment, you have committed crimes, you owe me money for that property damage, you can't finance that debt, my property now. Fuck you. With that being said, thank you for watching, and refer to me as Daddy, and I will see you on the next one.